Money Magazine. Number 1 was Detroit, Michigan. Number 3 was Moreno Valley. Any candidate who's not talking about bringing real jobs to Moreno Valley, not pie in the sky, there's no developer, there's nothing on the Planning Commission's agenda for it, just pie in the sky. Anybody who's not talking about real jobs that we can bring here now should not be running for office in Moreno Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, you have 3 minutes for introduction.
Good evening. My name is Dave Marquez. I've 34 years living in the city of this wonderful city called Moreno Valley. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. When I moved here 34 years ago, there was only 37,000 people living here, and there was only one street light. That was off the freeway at Frederick and Sunny Boulevard. Everything else had stop signs. Now we go ahead 34 years. What do we have now? We got many stop signs, many street lights, many things. My concern with this city, my concern is future growth of the city. I've seen it grow for 34 years. My concern is what's going to happen in the next 34 years, 50 years. I want to be part of the growth for the next 35, 40, 50 years, if I live that long. Maybe not, but at least I can get a start on it. I believe in leadership to have a city grow. That's what you need, leadership. I feel I have that leadership. And let me tell you why. Right out of high school, well, it was in high school, I joined the ROTC. I felt, I'm going to make a career out of the military. I think it's a good way to go. It's a job. You can't beat it. So I joined the ROTC. I was a leader in the ROTC program in school. When I graduated, 22 days later, I was in the Air Force. 23 days later, I was in Texas boot camp. Shortly after that, I saw on my first strike.
30 seconds, Mr. Marquez.
Okay, fast forward it. Fast. Okay. So, while in the military, I was a platoon leader, I was a sergeant, I did many things in leadership. When I got out of the military, I joined the police department. I trained new recruits in the police department. That called for leadership. That called for leadership. Third of all, in the last year, I've been awarded the Citizen of the Year Award from City of Moreno Valley and also the County of Riverside. So I have been involved in the leadership and the active, would you say, matters in the City of Moreno Valley.
Thank you, Mr. Marquez.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you, Bishop, for inviting me and everyone for coming out. I know you had many places to be, but you came out here tonight. And I want to say thank you, and you're very appreciated. Well, let me start off by saying oftentimes my generation is considered to be lazy or classified as disconnected or not politically involved and just mainly into Pokemon Go. But I can assure you that is not me. I am spearheading unification between the seasoned residents and the youth and creating a city that works together because it's we, not I. I'm an 11-year resident, so who am I? My name is Mildred Millie Bailey. I've lived here in Moreno Valley for 11 years, and within those 11 years, I have founded 2 nonprofit organizations. The first is called HTIN, Help Those in Need. We work with the homeless and the less fortunate and just the community around the whole Inland Empire. Secondly, we work with the teens, TDC, Teens Do Care. We work with the youth because that is our future, so we must activate them and get them started today for tomorrow. I want to galvanize this generation and galvanize our seasoned residents and unify us, for it is we, not I. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Lowell. I have been a lifelong resident of Moreno Valley. My parents moved here in 1982. My dad was stationed at March Air Force Base. He retired as an Air Force captain. My mom and dad have worked here in the city forever. So I have deep roots in the city. I went to public school here, went to Arden Heights, went to Midland, went to Vista Heights, Canyon Springs High School. I'm a graduate of RCC, Moreno Valley. I'm also a graduate of Cal Poly Pomona. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I work local, I work in Riverside. I'm also chairman of the planning commission. I've been on the planning commission for almost 4 years now. I'm going to be in my 4th year, and for the last 2 years, I've been chairman of the planning commission. Under my tenure, we've approved hundreds of improvement projects. We've seen various projects come from cell towers to large warehouses. We've seen projects come in that have been proposing to bring in new jobs. And we've seen those projects be constructed and hire new employees. One of the biggest issues that I have as far as attracting these new big warehouses, the World Logistics Center, I think, is a great project. They have great potential, they have great development. But if you look just yesterday, actually 2 days ago, the Karma Car Company, they were quoted in the newspaper as expanding their warehouses somewhere else. They're expanding into Irvine to have their headquarters in there, and their logic was they need to move somewhere more appealing, and they need to move someplace that makes their business more attractive to young engineers and smart engineers, and that's the image that we need to change in the city. They're moving to Irvine to hire better, smarter people, but the people that work in Irvine commute from Moreno Valley. We have the talent, we have the education, we have the workforce. We need to attract those businesses back to our city and encourage them to expand and grow here. We need to expand our workforce training. We need to work with community colleges. There are programs in effect that do that, but we need to expand that program. We need to make it more viable and more robust to encourage our youth to stay here.
Thank you, Mr. Lowell. Keep the mic there. Since I messed up his name, said his name is Brian Robert Lowell, not Robert Lowell.
Correct. Robert Lowell's my dad.
That's his dad. All right.
So this is the correct way. It'll show up on the ballot as Brian Robert Lowell. Just remember that when you go to vote. Brian Robert.
Thanks for that clarification, but still, we keep it there. You currently work on the city planning committee. Let us know what you're most proud of while working there.
That is correct. I've worked on that work that I was appointed to the planning commission. I've worked on it for 4 years now. I can't pick one project in particular that I'm most proud of, but I am most proud of reducing the red tape and encouraging development. I'm most proud of being able to streamline the entitlement process to allow projects that want to come to our city and develop in our city an easier path to get entitled so they can go to the engineering phase and build the projects. So the most proud moment on my commission tenure is making it easier to build and to attract business.
Thank you. Ms. Mildred.
You can call me Millie.
Millie? All right.
Yes, just
What is it on the ballot?
It's gonna be Mildred Millie Bailey.
Let them know.
Mildred Millie Bailey.
All right.
Yes.
Brian Robert Lowell.
All right. Thank you. Because you will be representing the East End if elected, what are your thoughts on WLC, which is planned for the East End?
There are many folks here who are for and against the WLC.
Excuse me, World Logistics Center.
The World Logistics Center.
WLC.
Yes, let's be more specific.
Thank you.
The World Logistics Center. There are many who are for and against it that are here tonight. But since it's already been approved and Brian helped approve this, let's just move forward and make it go the way it's supposed to go. We need to hold this developer to what he said it was going to be. If we're gonna hire Moreno Valley residents first, we'll hire Moval. Let's make that a priority and let these careers come to Moreno Valley for Moreno Valley residents, not for Irvine residents or Ontario residents who commute to Moreno Valley. Let's let our intelligent residents work in these facilities that are supposed to bring careers and not just jobs, as said. So I want to hold the developer responsible for every promise made, and keep it the way it should be with Moreno Valley residents as employees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Marquez, your first day in office, what do you think the most important thing you would want to tackle?
That's a tough question because there's so many issues in the city.
Pick one.
Main one, number one. It's not jobs. Jobs are gonna come. They're gonna come regardless. But the safety is not going to come. You know, the staggering amount of money that the county sheriff charges the city of Moreno Valley. I used to be a policeman. I come from a small city, the city of Mayoral. 82,000 people resident. 82,000 and 160 sworn officers. We're a city of 200,000, and we don't even come close to that. We have, the FBI says we should have one policeman for every 1,000 residents. We're not even close to that. We're lucky to have one for every 400 residents. That's not something to be proud of. I'm sorry, it isn't. My first priority.
You said 1 to every 1,000, and then you said we should have 1 to every.
No, we haven't. Presently, it's one policeman to every 300 to 400 residents.
Thank you.
This federal is 1 to every 1,000. And we're far below that, far below that. We should be this size, 1 to every 800.
Thank you, sir. Your numbers are still a little bit off, but that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're gonna come here with that same question.
I do believe that jobs are crucial to Moreno Valley. It's crucial for opportunity for our youth. To be the third worst city to begin a career is not the kind of city we need. To bring jobs, we need to be business friendly, but business friendly has to not be a slogan. If we are going to have a developer come in, spend millions of dollars to put together a proposal, to get it approved, to get it through the planning commission, then get a referendum passed, have the city adopt that referendum, and if that project still doesn't go through, we're gonna poison the water for future development in Moreno Valley. No developer will ever want to come. Business friendly has to really mean business friendly. We have to actually embrace businesses that are coming in and wanting to prosper this community. The amount of jobs that the WLC is gonna bring in is astronomical. And those people who are saying that we need better jobs, we need higher paying jobs, tell me that proposal. Tell me what developer is coming in asking to bring those jobs? What development project is before the planning commission right now that can be approved to bring those jobs? They're not there. They're not there. This is here. And we need to embrace it. We need to go ahead and have these jobs come in. It's gonna prosper all our community. Even during the development phase, when all the workers are here and building it, where are they gonna shop on their way home? Where are they gonna get birthday presents? Where are they gonna buy flowers for their wives on the way home? They're gonna buy them here in Moreno.
Mr. Lowell.
Yes, sir.
Lowell. I'll get it right before we're done.
It's just low, like lows, but with
Mr.
two L's.
Lowe.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yes. Because you're on the planning committee, everyone seems to be speaking warehouse, warehouse, warehouse. You're somewhat on the inside. Where do you see diversity as far as income for the city?
So you're asking me what I see as diversity as far as income goes and
Diverse income.
piggyback
other
on
than
top of
warehouse.
warehouses. As far as on the planning commission, we haven't seen a whole lot of small mom and pop shops come in front of our planning commission. The planning commission The sole purpose of the planning commission is to approve or deny or change things. When somebody comes in for to build something, if it doesn't meet our current general plan, for instance, if they want to put an apartment complex in a residential neighborhood, or if they want to put a large warehouse where it's zoned something else, the planning commission's responsibility is to look at a project holistically and verify whether or not these zoning ordinances should be changed and adopted to allow that project, regardless if it's a warehouse, if it's a house, if it's a hospital or a bar. Any one of those would come in front of us if they don't fit the cookie cutter mold of the general plan. With that said, as far as economic diversity, warehouses are a great start. They're not the solution to any of our problems. And for instance, I wanted to try to hold a campaign fundraiser, and there is no sit-down restaurants in my district. We have a couple fast food joints, we have little tiny fast food places where you can go and buy lunch for $5, but there's no place for us to hold any kind of event. We have Chili's, but that again, it's a family restaurant, but there's no open space. So we need to expand our horizons and make our city more appealing to places like a Dave & Buster's or just any other large company that wants to come in that has the ability to represent our city and give our people someplace to go, something to do, something to occupy our time and make our city more attractive for residents. When you have a draw to our city, that will increase the job creation, which will fix the problems that we're currently seeing.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Bailey,
Yes.
what would you say you bring to the table that will set you apart from these three gentlemen?
Well, besides the basic.
Are you calling a female comment?
I think the lack of facial hair is
The age, the gender, we can go on. But I bring new initiatives, new ideas, new perspective for a younger generation. From growing up here to seeing changes, I might not have been here since it started, but from when I lived here, and I've seen it change progressively for the worse. And I've seen the same people get elected and elected and elected, but nothing's changed. So I believe that I can bring a new perspective and actual a new change. Not for just because I'm a female and I'm the youngest. That's just not it. I have initiatives that will actually better Moreno Valley, not just District 3, but Moreno Valley as a whole, to unite us as districts and as a city. That's a beauty.
Mr. Martinez, how do you stay informed about city issues?
Rumors. That's the truth.
Are you here for votes tonight?
That's true. I definitely am. No. Social media is probably the best way to get any news. You get it from all sources. I believe you do. But I also read the LA Times and the Press Enterprise. Like a lot of people say, you can't believe what they say in the newspaper. There's a lot of good articles in the newspaper, and that's where you can learn from. My main thing is social media. I do read it, and I do read newsletters too. The school district puts out a lot of newsletters. The city puts out a lot of newsletters. They have their own websites. And that's another thing. Websites are fantastic for information. So that's where I get my information from.
Thank you. I'll ask you the same question, Mayor number 2.
I rely on the Press Enterprise almost exclusively. No, I don't. Not at all. What I have found is that the Press Enterprise has been very negative to Moreno Valley. During the yelling fire in a crowded theater, when the people were saying corruption, I've heard that term used again, and I am so tired of it. People who are continuing to use that term are people who are bringing down the image of our city. There was no corruption. There was a 2-year investigation by the FBI by the Riverside District Attorney and by the IRS. This city and those candidates have been vetted better than anybody ever could for 2 years by 3 agencies. But yet the press enterprise continues and continued for so long to beat this city up and to talk about corruption. And anytime there was corruption in real corruption in Beaumont. And they mentioned Moreno Valley again, even though it was proven that there was none. To continue to use the term, to continue to use that term is in my view, just bashing Moreno Valley. And to have candidates running for office that continue to do that, I don't think they should be running.
Thank you, sir. You guys ready? Ready
Yes.
for the audience? Step to the mic. Let's give them a hand. You grab that one, man. He's gonna beat you to this. No, but just leave it on the rack there. You don't have to take it off.
Well, I'm living in a different Mayoral Valley than you live in, just I believe Cole sits in jail right now. So there was corruption.
Is this to a specific person or?
Thank you.
Well, it's just to say that there was corruption. So my question is, there was corruption, and we're just gonna allow the feds to deal with it. There was a way that he came into office. Nothing's really changed as far as the ethics code at the city hall. It's
What's
the
the question?
same.
The
as it
question?
was.
The question.
The question is there anybody that's going to change anything to make it better?
Either one of you can take that.
Right, to work against the corruption that supposedly isn't there.
Well, I want to be the first to answer that. You can check my 460s, you can check into my background, you can check into my life. You see that I am a representative of the people, because I am the people. I'm from here, I'm not a politician, I'm a resident who wants to make a change. I've been seeing corruption, and I'm ready to stop it and show people that we can have morals and ethics in politics. Not every politician has to lie and steal and take money and have special interests. I want to be that representative and show you, because I want to represent you, so it's we, not I.
Thank you.
Could I
Did you
answer
want,
that
did
question
you want
too?
to? Yes, go ahead.
So you're asking about if anybody up here would be willing to do anything to change corruption or change the look of the city as far as corrupt people go. If anybody knows anything about criminals, they are indeed clever. You can sit up here and say one thing, but you could break the rules all day long, just like a speeding ticket. So you can tout, yes, transparency, which I am touting transparency. I was the first one to release my 460 for our district. But no matter what you say up here, it's your actions that will do more talking than your actual words will. So if you're a criminal regardless of what you say.
Okay, my name is Betty, and I live in the 3rd District. I'd like to say to all candidates, good luck. However, specifically to Mr. Marquez, because I've seen him in our area. I have not just heard his name, I've seen him in the area. My neighbors talk about Marquez. The one thing he did say, and I think you cut him off when he said something about there being 300 to 400 people to one police officer. We attended a meeting with the police department, and he's correct. There are about 300 residents to each police officer. So what he was saying is correct. And I admire, and I've heard some great things. I heard you say something about the planning, the city planning, and you stated something about being business friendly, but they're hiring people, and personally, I want to know where they're hiring people, because I know a lot of people who are looking for jobs and they can't get a job. They go to the warehouses and they're not able to work. So I guess my question is, in Moreno Valley, you're hiring some people, but everybody's not, and I understand that everybody is not going to be hired, but there are a significant amount of people out there looking for jobs and they can't get a job.
Thank you,
So
ma'am. Why isn't everyone getting hired? Who wants to take that? Mr. Marquez?
Oh, I had the money. I was so.
Now, this day and age, you don't fill an application out when you go get, looking for a job. They want you to email your resume. People don't understand that it's not like it used to be. There's jobs out there. Unfortunately, we ain't got a library that can handle this many people to use their computers to do type up resumes and send it to these companies. So first of all, you know, there is plenty of jobs, but we need a library where people can go and use computers to get a job. Simple as that. Stop giving money to throwaways, Mason from the 60 freeway all the way to Iris. Why is that road ever built? I mean, we have other interchanges, other roads, but we need a public library that anyone can go type up a resume and send it to the companies. That's what I would do.
Thank you, thank you, sir. If you have one police to
I could take
every
it.
400
I could take this.
residents, it's a lot better than having one police to every 1,000 residents.
Correct.
That's what I was addressing.
Obviously, yes, that's.
Well, no,
And he
he's
said
saying,
the
he's saying that we
opposite,
should go from 1 to 300 to 1 to
So-
1,000 and actually fire a
I
third.
can understand.
Yeah, his statement was.
Yes, on the far end, go ahead. You wanted to continue this?
Yes, and I
Mr.
kind
Lowell?
of got my brain.
The same question, right?
What we could do about, could you repeat your questions real quick, because I got
Okay.
sidetracked.
And you have 1 minute, because this is the third round on this
Okay.
question.
Okay, I mean, you were talking about city planning and everything, and I understand that you talked about diversity. To be honest, as an African-American woman, I don't see a lot of diversity.
So you're asking where are the jobs, right?
Where are the jobs?
On that
Thank you,
same,
thank you, Mayor.
on that same report, I believe that Mr. Ortelis quoted where we are the 8th or 9th worst place in the country to start a job, start a career. That same study, or one that was posted right around the same time, said that Detroit has a lower unemployment rate than the city of Moreno Valley. So that is probably one of the worst stats that I've ever heard. It's easier to find a job in a bankrupt city that is going under than in Moreno Valley. So that is the first thing we need to change, again, changing the image. The library fund, I actually have a letter dated January 2009 saying why the money was taken from the library and put on the bridge and how they're going to repay it with TUMP funds. And I fully plan on
Thank you.
pursuing
1 minute right here on that same question. We're gonna have to pass on you on this one, and we'll come back to you, and you're next, ma'am, with your question.
Okay, regarding jobs and Moreno Valley residents having jobs, there was recently, not too long ago, that RCC got a huge grant for a program to prepare people for jobs, logistics jobs. That's what they're preparing them for. There have been 2 groups that have already graduated from there. RCC is preparing students, are preparing residents here in Moreno Valley for those jobs that are coming. They know they're coming. RCC knew they were coming. They requested the grant. They got the grant, and that program is in effect right now. So I would suggest
Thank you,
that
sir. Look up
people-
RCC, and I think it's only the Norco RCC.
And Mr. Latapias, I'm really glad you said that right before I stepped to the microphone, because not every job is a job that'll pull you out of poverty. And by RCC setting up our students and our city setting up our residents to work for warehousing, we're in fact instilling an ability to stay in poverty. Okay, I'm getting that.
Thank you.
My question is, I recently went to the drop zone in Paris and saw what Paris was able to attract by going to the Board of Supervisors and pitching an idea. So I want to know from you guys, how do you pitch Moreno Valley to get something better than what we've been given? And how do you see our city going forward without logistics?
Thank you. Okay, I'll start with you.
Okay. We move forward by actually caring and asking and talking and surveying our residents of what we want for our city, not having just this council pick what we want for you. We can't tell you what we want for you unless we're gonna continue to go down the path we're going down. Because we've been telling you what we want. We want you to have warehouses. We want you to work in logistics. We want you to do this. but what do you want? We're supposed to represent you. So we want to hear from you. That's what I want when I get elected, is to hear from the residents of Moreno Valley, to see what we all can do to make Moreno Valley move forward, not what just the 5 of us can do. Because that's not great strategic planning when we're not including the residents in our strategic planning.
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Hi, I know we've already had two potential candidates here mention about needing a library, but I haven't heard anyone address how it's going to be funded. As I said, I moved here 18 years ago, and we still have no library in this community, no funds for the library.
So our question is, how are we going to fund the library that you're saying we need?
Like I was trying to say earlier, in January of 2009, Mr. Richard Stewart signed a letter to one of my friends addressing why the money was taken from the library fund and given to the Mason Street corridor. They redirected 2007 RDA bonds money to the Mason Street Bridge. They redirected $240,000 through fundraising through the Mayor's Cup and a couple other private fundraising events to the bridge, under the promise that they would agree and work with TUMF and WRCOG, which is the West Riverside County Organization of Governments, to use TUMF money to repay the library fund. It has been 7 years since that has happened, and not one penny has been restored to my knowledge. I will actively pursue that. I will actively pursue getting the money back, taking it from wherever it was misappropriated, and pursuing other federal grants and state grants and other money funding sources to ensure that we not only get a little satellite branch, but a state-of-the-art, brand new library.
Time is drawing near, and we still have the mayor candidates to come up. So we're gonna, no one else stand to this mic. I'll take you 2, and I'll take you 3 with questioning, and address it to one person.
Well, it's not hard for me to address it to one person.
Okay, open, and then we'll.
Right.
I'll
Thank
pick
you.
one.
Okay, basically I want to talk about the young people. It's such a bad reputation here that when young people graduate from high school, the first thing they want to do is leave Moreno Valley. There's no activities, there's no participation. Also, too, what happens is even with activities, only the rich can afford it, okay? They have games, they have soccer, basketball, baseball, all that, but you have to pay. In the inner city, they have programs that fund this so that you can go straight across the board and young people can have the opportunity to participate. So what you see is teenagers, young people, whatever, just marching around the mall, and basically that's it. I want to know, what are your plans to help keep some of our young people here, to educate them, to give them recreation, and to have some fun that they don't have to pay for?
Thank you for that question. We do definitely